So I think that we could all agree here universally that the Acolyte series is by far the worst thing that Disney has put out for Lucasfilm when it comes to the Star Wars brand. There's no doubt about it, by the way, that when we examine the Acolyte series, it is the furthest away from George Lucas's vision, his philosophy, everything that he stood for when creating Star Wars back in the 70s and the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. What's even more interesting about the scenario now has a lot more to do with the Acolyte backlash and the ongoing drama happening between the Walt Disney Company and Lucasfilm. Let's get into it, shall we? This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. So, one thing about Leslye Headland, the showrunner and the director of this thing, is that she will never admit failure. She will never admit the criticism that is valid, by the way. She will keep on saying that the reviews are fake, that the criticism is inauthentic, that it's not real. Whatever she has to do to cope, she will actually put out there to deal with the situation. That's just the facts. But looking at Leslye Headland now, this is where things begin to get messy behind the scenes. Not just at Lucasfilm, but also at the Walt Disney Company, in particular, connected to Bob Iger, the board of directors, the Disney executives, and we have a lot more to discuss, so let's go over this. Now, what's interesting about all of this has a lot to do as well with Kathleen Kennedy at the forefront, and how this is also enhancing the shakeup between Lucasfilm and the Walt Disney Company. Now look, they're already dealing with the Gina Carano situation, so this situation in particular is not helping anyone. And this is, of course, exactly why Disney continues to fail. So on top of everything here, with the Acolyte finale already a colossal failure, and it is, for both Lucasfilm and Disney, one serious development going on right now has more to do with Leslye Headland, where she is already going up against the Disney executives and higher-ups after they made their decision to cancel the Acolyte Season 2. This was a decision by Bob Iger, who made the final call as part of his cost containment plan, and the Acolyte's underperformance via the Nielsen ratings. However, in recent days, the drama worsened, where Leslye Headland is already beginning to take legal action against the Disney executives, and gave them a firm warning that if her contract deal is not respected as she claims it was promised beforehand, in the next 3 weeks, that she is moving ahead with a legal team against the Walt Disney Company. This comes in the wake of Leslye Headland claiming to Bob Iger and the Disney heads that the Acolyte Season 2 was indeed within her contract deal with Lucasfilm and Disney, when in reality this was not the case, at least according to Bob Iger. With Headland now moving ahead to take legal action against Disney for canceling the Acolyte Season 2, it turns out this stems from footage that was indeed shot for the Acolyte Season 1 that was going to be used for an opening scene in Season 2 featuring Darth Plagueis and Chimere. Basically, the scenes would be used twice. A very expensive sequence that cost roughly $7 million, reportedly, that was said to be very bold. Bold in a sense that it would be canon-breaking and change the overall view of Star Wars fans. The recent argument that took place in a remote meeting between both Kathleen Kennedy and Leslye Headland and the Lucasfilm story group against the Disney heads, as the footage was indeed shot for the Acolyte Season 2 that was going to be teased at the very end of the current one. A scene that Bob Iger gave full approval of back in early 2023, roughly back in February. Now, this flipped upside down and was supposed to halt production midway through. However, Kathleen Kennedy reportedly continued her demands to the Lucasfilm Acolyte team to continue filming the scene and to use it for the Acolyte Season 1. This created confusion among those at Lucasfilm to the point where it is the main reason why Leslye Headland is blaming Bob Iger for promising a Season 2 in her contract. The Acolyte Season 2 was going to bring Leslye Headland an estimated, get this, $11 million payout for the series continuation that is now no longer moving ahead. However, both Kennedy and Headland are fighting together against Disney to get Season 2 reinstated. Now guys, before I move on from this, let me just say one thing about the Acolyte. It does not deserve a Season 2, period, the end. There's no way that they could actually do that to begin with. We know that the estimated viewership decline is at an all-time low from Disney Star Wars. We have never seen anything like this before, and that's why it did not even reach the top 10 on the Nielsen ratings just a couple of days ago. And it's expected to do even worse. Now, when you look at things related to the Acolyte series, it is failing for many reasons, many valid reasons that, well, those like Kathleen Kennedy and Leslye Headland will say are inaccurate or invalid, and that the fans are out of their mind. They don't know what they're talking about, but they will claim that the fans don't know what they're talking about. That's the overall narrative from Lucasfilm, right? So this is a very interesting situation that is unfolding, and it will continue to unfold in the next couple of weeks. I think it's going to be very interesting as we head into late August, where this stands, and where Leslye Headland's, of course, move is going to be over at Lucasfilm. Now, we know that she has a lot of problems with Disney. They dropped her from various Lucasfilm projects. We talked about this, as well as Marvel projects. She was supposed to co-write and, of course, direct a handful of Marvel spin-off series connected to Ironheart and Agatha all along, that overall new Agatha series, whatever you want to call it. But what's interesting about that has more to do with everything related to the Acolyte cancellation. Now, on top of this is the foundation of the main shakeup happening right now between Lucasfilm and Disney, and why there is much tension between Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy. In addition to all of this, Leslye Headland is also warning Disney that she is willing to make all of this drama public if her contract is not settled by the end of August, warning them of providing full details of the issues on various podcasts and radio shows that focus on pop culture to shed more light on the Walt Disney Company's situation. As the same, of course, goes for Gina Carano. They're dealing with a similar scenario now, where they really are trying to kind of keep things quiet when it comes to the Gina Carano lawsuit. They don't need another lawsuit on their hands. They can't afford it at this point. So it really makes one question, will Bob Iger cave to reinstating Season 2? To tell you guys the truth, I don't see it happening. I don't see him caving because the viewership is just not there. It would be a big waste of money. It would be a big waste of funds. And there's really no confidence in the show for, of course, Disney through their perspective. It's different when you look back at other shows out there that made a Season 2, most notably Velma Season 2 on HBO Max. I think that was just a one-off there. I don't see a Season 3 moving forward. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe there is. But what's interesting about that has more to do with how naive Lucasfilm really has become, and how out of touch with reality they really are. The fact that Leslye Headland got mixed up with things, that Season 2 was within her contract when it wasn't, all because of one little scene that was filmed to kind of keep things open-ended, really makes you wonder, where were they really going with Darth Plagueis and the character Chimere, also known as the Stranger? Now, the thing about Kathleen Kennedy is that she already touched on this numerous times, that, it's all about the toxic males. It's all about how women have to deal with a very, toxic environment at Lucasfilm because of all the criticism that they get. That's their overall narrative as well, and it's not helping anybody at all. In fact, if anything, it's driving more fans away the more you continue to dive into that narrative. So overall, I would like to hear what everyone has to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.